What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. My name is Zax and this is Club United. You know, whenever I make a video, I try to be as cheerful as possible for the obvious reasons, but that has become increasingly difficult with the set of results Manchester United have been getting. Manchester United lost 2-0 to Manchester City in a Manchester derby. And I know for the Manchester faithful, you guys know what it really takes and what is expected from a Manchester derby. It's supposed to be the fighting spirit, the winning mentality, and the right to claim Manchester is our very own. So to have Manchester United go down without a fight, without that aggressiveness, to just give up to Manchester City is definitely a huge blow to the Manchester United faithful fans. So before we break it down, please like, share and subscribe to the official YouTube channel, Club United. So first of all, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer opted for the 3-5-2 formation. And for me, when I first saw this formation, this lineup, it made sense why he would go for 3-5-2, because obviously Ole is interested in having 5 defenders, especially when it worked so well for him against Tottenham, where he allowed Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka to be those classic English wingbacks so they could add to the attacking strength of the team. But the problem now is the fact that Wan-Bissaka naturally is more gifted in defensive duties, especially those one-on-one areas is when he's really been capable. So the problem is he can go forward and use that flank, but when it comes to that attacking last-minute decision to actually cross into the ball, that's where we start to see some of those flaws. Then at the back three we had Bailly, Lindelof and Maguire, and those guys made up the back three, and it was very good to actually see Eric Bailly back in action. Personally, I'm a fan of Eric Bailly, because I feel like honestly he puts in work. He's had a couple of chances in the team, and what we can all appreciate about Ekbai is he pretty much puts himself in a position where he sometimes gets injured just to get that clearance. Like he tosses himself to the ground pretty much. It's just a hard work, or that's his approach, whatever it takes, a die-hard mentality to clear the ball. So it's very unfortunate that the first goal was actually an own goal considered by Eric Bailly, but for me, it was just an unlucky moment where he actually tried to slide and clear the ball. So an unlucky moment for Eric Bailly. And for the second goal, Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire just pretty much lost focus and actually let the whip from Cancelo get into our box, and actually I don't know how Bernardo Silva actually managed to get a touch on it, but that's how I consider our first goal. So for both our goals, there was actually individual errors. It was actually mistakes that led to our goals. And for the first goal, again touching on Wan-Bissaka, the fact that Eric Bailly actually had to deal with that ball is because Wan-Bissaka was unavailable. He was in the midfield and couldn't react back on time to actually get back into the box. He let Cancelo run through straight into our defense and create that threat, which it led to the first goal. And for our starting 11 midfield, our favorite pairing of all time, Fred and Scott McTominay. Come on, we had this conversation. Everyone is always talking about this conversation, the issue surrounding Fred. Are these guys actually capable, or are these guys supposed to be in a Manchester United starting 11? Because what we know is we're playing City, a title contender, right? And like beginning of the season, we were right amongst those conversations. Manchester United title contenders. Manchester United finished behind City last season at second position. And now, we have individuals like Fred who have shown week in, week out that they don't have the quality to make up that solid midfield pairing which can really support and take Manchester United forward. When you're playing the likes of Bernardo Silva, the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, and you have someone like Fred. I spoke in my last video, I'll have that video linked down in the description, the Tottenham game, our best performance of the season. Even on that day, Fred wasn't performing, he wasn't playing the best football, but it's the way that we played that actually allowed him not to be, a catalyst towards our failure. He was cushioned and covered. He wasn't, contributing much because he didn't actually get much of the ball, and he was cushioned. He didn't actually have a lot to say in the game. So is Fred really necessary to have in our starting 11? And I know a lot of you may have different views, but I'm sure if you actually were to take a poll, and actually Manchester United fans were actually to vote, how many people feel Fred should be in the starting 11? I bet you, I kid you not, a lot of people, maybe 80% will agree with me. Fred is not supposed to be in the starting 11. What happened to Donny van der Berg? We spent a lot of money on Donny van der Berg, but never actually get to plays. We've seen glimpses of him, like 5 minutes against Atalanta, and we saw the same thing, 5 minutes, more or less. And in that small amount of time, it shows you that there is something there we can work on, something we can build. But for some reason, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer keeps going to the same midfield pairing, Scott McTominay, Fred. I like Scott McTominay, he works hard. But Fred, man, this guy is not doing it for me. I personally don't feel he should be in that starting 11. You know, we have a lot of options on the bench, and Ole should really have faith in some of these players and actually build a team. Have a starting 11 that when you see that starting 11, you actually know that this team is capable of winning, especially the likes of Manchester City. Then up front, we had Ronaldo and Greenwood. First of all, I knew that Greenwood would be coming back into the starting 11, especially for the Manchester derby. We know Rashford, you know, he hasn't really gained that fitness level, so he's coming in as a substitute, hopefully to cause damage, because Rashford is lethal in front of goal and is quick also, so we need him as a lethal substitute. So actually getting into how we went about our business, I mean, we knew Manchester City were going to dominate position. They play this type of football so well under Guardiola, and they have the cohesiveness to actually play this way. But the biggest problem is, in fact, from the starting whistle, Manchester United were outclassed. We're losing second balls. The belief was lacking. The passing was just poor. And our best approach to actually winning this game was going on the counter attack, withstand a bit of that pressure, then actually break out. But the problems with the midfield, the reaction to actually switch from defense to offense, it's obviously going to take them a lot of time. So I didn't see how that is going to be possible. And Cristiano is not the fastest forward anymore. So, you know, Fernandes, Greenwood, these guys were going to supposed to play an important role. But the biggest problem, man, the fact that we lacked belief, the fact that we're just getting tossed around. Manchester City came in this game knowing that they had, you know, it was not going to be a difficult Manchester United side, but it seems they were working harder than us. They were getting those extra runs. They're actually winning those dead balls, getting those second balls, and we're at home, and that worries me the most. This is the second, you know, this is after the Liverpool loss. This is the second like big game, right, that we've played at Old Trafford in front of the Manchester United fans, and you see this type of performance where guys are not believing. I don't know from you guys, you know, a Manchester derby means so much more. Sparks fly at a Manchester derby. It's electrifying. There's so much tension in the air. But with these guys, it seems we just gave up. You know, we just gave them the ball. We gave them the respect. And that's the worst thing to see. Manchester United giving them the respect at home at Old Trafford, you know, is the worst thing you can see. You know, for most part of the game, what we were lacking the most was actually discipline. You know, when you get the ball, how quick do you release the ball? You know, how quick do you actually get the ball forward so that we actually move on the counter attack? And we go back to this conversation of individual performances. It was honestly an embarrassing performance to what you expect at a Manchester derby, especially at Old Trafford. Now for you, I have some stats to actually show you, you know, what I'm going on and about. Manchester United only managed one shot on target. That was a decent chance from Cristiano Ronaldo, and that was the only shot that we actually managed to get on target, while Manchester City enjoyed 5 shots on target. And I know the score line is just only 2-0, but that doesn't reflect what actually went on the pitch. It could have been 5-0 just like the Liverpool game. And for me personally, it seems as if it's, you know, it's exactly like the Liverpool game. I know the scoreline is different, but when you look at it, you know, when you're outclassed this way, and when you get into a ball where you're dominated and you lack belief and you just pretty much surrender from the first goal, right? The plan was to not concede, because Manchester United, I saw they were trying to park the bus for most of the first half, right? But after conceding that second goal, that pretty much just went into dust, because after that, now they're trying to sit back, but they're not defending as well, you know, and they're being pressed by Manchester City the entire 90 minutes. And it's inevitable to actually start looking at those managerial errors, right? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, his managerial flaws are being seen week in, week out. We see with the way they're playing. The way Manchester United played for most of that game, losing balls, you know, not winning those second balls. You think to yourself, are these guys still playing for the coach? Because one of the biggest factors why we might not actually be performing as well as you should be is simply because maybe the players aren't playing for him anymore. Players are lacking belief. They don't want to be part of this Ole system because they don't know what to expect, right? You don't know like who's part of the starting 11. You don't know how we're actually playing. We see him trying to switch and change his tactics week in, week out, like, you know, changing formation mid-game. For the second half, you know, deep into the final 30 minutes of the game, he was trying to play back 5 because now he's just trying to hold everyone back so that we don't concede more goals. But the first goals we've already been conceded. It's 2 goals from mistakes. So you just see that, you know, you can't hide what's going on in that dressing room, which is obviously being instigated by the coach. And this nice guy approach, we have to talk about it. A lot of people are wondering, is he the guy that's going to Cristiano Ronaldo and actually asking him to do more when Manchester United are being praised. Like, is he actually telling Cristiano Ronaldo to actually do more? Like, how much of a say does he have to his players? Because it seems to me like he's a nice guy, right? He has a couple of players in that team that he knows that he has to put in the style of living. It's almost like he's obliged to, but he doesn't really have to, especially when he's under so much scrutiny and he's under so much pressure where he could actually get sacked. So he has to take some of these gambles that might actually help him, some of these big decisions. Get Jadon Sancho more time, get him more involved in that midfield, right? Get him on the right wing back to actually maybe assist with those crosses into the box. I know he hasn't played that position, but maybe he might be in a position to actually do a better job when it comes to the final pass, from the right flank, because we know that he's capable and he's actually quite versatile when he was playing at Dortmund, right? What Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to really appreciate is the fact that, or the wake-up call is, most of those players are his players, right? It's players that he's actually put pen to paper. Players that he said that he's wanted, right? The board have supported him. They've gotten those players. So if this is his project, then we can't be getting this. It's embarrassing. It's disappointing to be performing at this level. When Manchester United have dropped their expectations, where everyone around the club we're talking about finally having that title. Finally, because we were challenging for the title last season. Finally winning a trophy. Finally, maybe getting to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. And actually maybe winning the title. But the fact that with the way he's playing, and you just wonder, you're playing against the likes of Guardiola, you're playing in the league where Antonio Conte has been appointed as Tottenham manager, so he's back in the league. You're playing in the same league with Klopp, and you have this guy who's not even sure of how he's managing his team. It's devastating. It's the last thing you want to see for Manchester United. And it's that display at Old Trafford. There are no good takes from that game, because after every game, there's usually something positive that you can take from the game. But I don't see anything that we can take and say, this is a good thing going forward. There is no good thing, right? Even if you look of the games we've had this season, Tottenham is the only game that I can actually say we played well. The Leeds game was a decent game. West Ham, it can't really be a decent game because West Ham, we actually, Lingard scored that final goal, but we're pretty much, not comfortable in that game. So it's Aston Villa, it was the same situation. Everton, it was the same situation. So it's gotten to a point where people now just look at these big games, right? Liverpool, Man City, we're facing Chelsea soon. It's just these big games, right? But you have to look even at the small games. Aston Villa, the way we're playing. Wolves, I don't know how we won that Wolves game, but we were clearly not playing our best football. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we know he's going to be in charge at least until the end of the year. The board are just dreading the decision of having to sack him now, especially now, when you have to go to that phase of actually getting a new coach. And for now, we know that he's going to be your coach. So, man, a lot is just going through my mind. I'm just trying to process it all. How can he actually get to winning ways? Big decisions, big mentality. As it stands, the players are taking responsibility, but he has to take a lot of that responsibility. This is his project, There's guys like Michael Carrick. What are these guys doing? These guys have to support him, We had one of the most... This was a terrible performance in Manchester against Manchester City, and there's not really any positive to take from this game, which is very, very sad, when you're a Manchester side and when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been given the biggest job, in England to coach the biggest club. So it's a lot to process, it's a lot to digest, but what I can say is we have to start winning, And for a lot of people, I know the Manchester United faithful went really naive to say that the Tottenham game was actually getting back to winning ways. But it was a good thing for us, because to actually get back to winning ways, you have to win. You have to win a first game, then a second, then a third. That's how you actually get back to winning ways. So for me, Tottenham game wasn't enough to say, we're back to winning, but it was a step in the right direction. Maybe now he's comfortable, or now he's brave enough to actually make some of those difficult calls, So, man, it's an embarrassing defeat to Manchester City. I don't wanna lie. Nothing impressive, nothing to take from this game. We were bullied the entire 90 minutes. We surrendered, we submitted to Manchester City. We're like, hey, you guys, take the ball, do what you wanna do. And you saw best performances from opposition players this season in Old Trafford. We've seen Salah. He probably is one of his best performances of the season. He's actually made it at Old Trafford, right? Phil Foden. I mean, this kid, On the right flank, he had so much space. Wan-Bissaka wasn't even getting to him. He had so much space, so much freedom. Cancelo, probably the best player on the pitch on that game. He had so much versatility. All those crosses into that box. He was just so comfortable. And that's the position, or that's the situation. That's the last thing you want at Old Trafford. You can't be having a situation where players, our arch rivals, players are actually getting their best performances at Old Trafford. We don't know of this. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, honestly, he has to change his ways. He has to instill that winning mentality. Those players have to get behind him. They have to believe in his project. He has to be going forward. He has to play our way and get things right. So the biggest issue now becomes, how best do we prepare for the Watford game? We know after the international break we face Watford. And if you've made it to this part of the video, that means you're genuinely a club member of Club United. So please be the cool girl guy that gives this video a thumbs up. And please check out my socials, all linked in the description below. Also check out my other videos, also linked in the description below. See you in the next video. Peace.